Victor, do you consider yourself a system leader?
Is it Plato that said the best leaders are reluctant?
Yeah.
Well, I'm probably like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's always a bit, you know, I don't want to be, you know,
yeah,
lest you be judged.
Right.
But, you know, you are, I'm in this position. I'm being interviewed by you, so I must be something like it, I guess, yeah.
So what do you think are the attributes a system leader needs?
Well, I think there's something, well, I would say the following attributes are necessary. That actually, a lot of system leadership, a lot of leadership starts with who you are, actually, which is quite difficult to get across to people. So you have to think about, you have to have the ability to, it's not so much self-awareness, well, self-awareness is the thing, but it's actually noticing how your emotions impact what you think, and therefore what you do, and therefore what others do.
Right.
Without becoming obsessed.
Yeah.
So there's something about starting with where you are as opposed to starting with where everybody else is.
Right.
And expecting them to change because you say so, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
You are your own tool, literally. And the sense, you know, the difference between leadership and management is that leadership does involve an emotional investment.
Yeah.
No matter how intelligent you are, it involves an emotional investment.
Yeah.
And I have sort of, you know, witnessed the idea that IQ alone will make you a good leader. I'm afraid that's not true, in my view.
Yeah, yeah, right. And it must involve a fair bit, the ability to persuade.
Yeah, but that's not necessarily related to intelligence. That is often related to the ability to understand and empathise with the views of the others, with the other, such that you can either find a midpoint or persuade. But it's not necessarily sheer force of IQ.
No.
In fact, that might have the opposite effect.
No, indeed, indeed. What do you think the barriers are to system leadership in health and social care?
The past.
Yeah.
We don't really do a lot of, there's a lot of talk about leadership, and I've noticed in health and social care.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of resource spent on it. Quite a lot of going around in circles. I'm not convinced we do a whole heap of it, to be honest. And the reason why I say that is the remarkable stuckness of things, which tend to indicate that we do management, and we do management of stuff. We move resource around
rather than system change.
But we don't really do system change. Sometimes we do system change, or we say we're doing it, but it's a kind of an artifact to prevent the very change that we want. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you think you've seen good examples of system leadership in health and social care?
In health and social care, there seems to be some local system leadership going on in the northwest, for instance, and by which I don't mean Manchester, which has been built up over years, building relationships between health and social care, fundamentally based on a common understanding of what the health and social care needs of that population are. And it's the population that's driven the change, as opposed to the system, the structures. The problem I have is that if you say, well, system leadership requires a long time building relationships, people say, well, we haven't got that time. Yeah. And I guess my view would be learning the art of building relationships cuts the time. The more times you do it, the more times you practice it, the less time it takes, as opposed to relying on the accident of having an appropriate leader land at the right time, who just happens to be there, who turns out this wonderful thing that everybody points at and says, isn't that wonderful, while they're carrying on doing the thing that actually doesn't work.
Do you have any sense whether kind of local government, taken as a whole, is a bit better at this than health tends to be?
I think it is, actually. Or it has. There are more examples of it attempting to lead systems than in health. I have to say that.
Yeah. And is that because there's something about the NHS that is risk averse?
It is incredibly risk averse, actually, and it's interesting.
And is that because the NHS is too hard on failure?
Well, I do. The question I always ask is, do we praise excellence more than we punish failure?
Yeah. And your answer to that question is?
Well, I think we do punish failure far more than we reward excellence.
Yeah. Do you think system leadership is something that can be taught, or does it just have to be learnt by doing it? Or
I think it can be. I think it can be taught. It is teachable.
Yeah.
I mean, I have and do teach it. You can teach it, but it's not like standing in front of a board and giving people a load of models to absorb. People also have to go through the process of challenging, of challenging who they are, where they are, and how they are. I mean, the growth of becoming a leader in any context involves some personal growth, which is inevitably painful. I mean, you know, some of the work of Bill Torbett and others would argue that's the case, but it's also true. And why shouldn't it be? Yeah. You know, if you're going to put someone in charge of something, it shouldn't be easy.
No, no, exactly. And do you have a sense of where that bunch of system leaders in the health and social care area will come from? You
know, I worry about this the most.
Yeah.
I have to say this. You know, one of the questions I always ask is, if we're doing so well at leadership, how come they're all white?
Yes.
You know, it is extremely worrying to me, because it's not just a case of the issue of whether, you know, racism exists and all. That's not really the point. The point is that the thinking that got you into this situation cannot be the thinking that got you out. So if all our leaders look the same, talk the same, have come from the same place, do the same things in the same way,
you're going to get the same result.
I would have thought so. Yeah. And so there's a real question. Some of Helen Bevan's work on sort of, you know, it probably frightens the life out of people, the idea of the leader as a sort of awkward member of the awkward squad, or the person that says asks the difficult questions, or doesn't look, walk or talk like anyone else. Yeah. But in some cases in the NHS, that's like women. I'm not talking about, you know, I'm not talking about, you know, appointing, you know, people that look like me. I'm talking women. You know, so there's something strange about health and social care in its leadership that seems to mitigate against a diversity of view and experience and background. And that's important when you look at the work of Roger Klein and you see the direct impact that has on patient care. We should be very worried about that. Yeah. Yeah. Very worried.
Yeah. Would you have some advice for other system leaders if I asked you that?
I think there's something about building relationships of value, learning, and maintaining enough humility to seek what I would call, this is going to sound strange, but aggressive help. And what I mean by that is no one person achieves anything on their own, no matter how clever, no matter how smart or how lucky they are. So the only way that you're going to become a leader is through actually having effective followership, which means having the humility to ask and seek and understand and have connections with others, which is a skill which you need to learn. So my advice to people who want to become system leaders and show me how to do it is to do that.
That's great. Thank you.